Polygamy in Africa by Tiana Hale. My research attempts to review the history of polygamy, particularly in Islamic and Western African cultures. I discuss origins within the culture, colonial Christian criticisms, and finally, movements in contemporary Africa to either remove or keep the tradition. The practice of having many wives has been a tradition in Africa for a very long time. Many authors suggest that the origin and continuation of polygamous marriages has to do with financial interest. According to a report by the Secretariat of UN Economic Commission of Africa, one of the strongest appeals of polygamy to men in Africa is precisely the economic aspect, for a man with several wives commands more land, can produce more food for his household, and can achieve high status due to wealth which he can command. In association with that, there is the underlying notion that more wives produce more children, and under these circumstances, the polygamy in Africa was considered to be a part of the way you could build an empire. The quest for social eliteness seems to be a motivator of polygamy in Africa. Another aspect of this I wanted to focus on in order to set the stage for contemporary debate on polygamy is the religious views, starting with Islam. Writer of the book West Africa, Anthony Ham, states that the Quran allows up to 4 wives, as long as the husband can provide for them all. The map on the right shows the percentage of Muslims per countries in Africa, while the left map shows the ratio of polygamists. To compare, it seems that Western Africa has both a high rate of polygamy and Islamic population. With the arrival of Western civilization and settlement in Africa came the judgment of a culture that had been in place for a long time. Christian leaders sought to relieve what they perceived as African heathenism through their religion. In the 19th century, Bishop James Johnson remarked on his view of polygamy at the time, stating it was wrong, he said, because polygamy contravened divine law. If polygamy is immoral in Europe, it is immoral in Asia and Africa also. It is also admitted on all hands that polygamy enervates the man, makes him a slave to his passions, and degrades and humiliates women. This kind of mindset that polygamy is so evil lasted to today, causing much controversy and debate in Africa. Not too long ago, an article was published informing readers about a new bill that was proposed by Kenya's parliament. The bill legalizes polygamy without the consent of any previous wives. The bill forbids marriages to girls under 18, bride payments, and states women are entitled to 30% of matrimonial property. The article suggests that the women of Parliament walked out in disgust over the matter, and a commenter on the article said that this was Stone Age thinking. I thought we Africans moved on way beyond this stage. The truth is, to Western standards, and obviously standards of many African people, the practice of polygamy is barbaric, but at the same time, it also is a tradition to other people. This law, to some degree, has the rights of those people encompassed within it. The law is meant to bring civil law where some cultures allow multiple partners, and should their rights not be represented. David Lawson has done research on polygamous marriages in Africa. He is from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. He states children in polygamous households either do better or just as well as children in monogamous households within the same village. His research also notes that this is true with the first wives, while later wives and their children could face danger of food security. Another writer, Paul Glick, reminds readers that, with few exceptions, contemporary polygamy in Africa has been largely ignored by researchers. Admittedly, this has been due in part to the fact that any systematic study of polygamy is hampered by the persistent absence of adequate amounts of readily accessible and reliable data. To conclude, there is evidence out there to support and retract the institution of polygamy in Africa that has been a part of so many cultures' tradition for a long time. Women can be degraded because of it, and at the same time, it can boost their family financially. A lot of controversy of the subject comes from colonial Christian views. In the end, it is hard to say what is completely right or wrong in the matter.